So I'm going to show you how to use Git and the daily commands that I use when I'm working with Git and pushing my code and doing what I need to do with GitHub and Git. So first thing we're going to do is create a new repo. So go over here, right here, and then click on new repo. And then just, name your repo whatever you want to. So let's just say, let's call this Git example. And if you want to write a description, you can. If not, it's optional. So let's just create a repo. We're not going to add a README file or anything. So let's click on that. So now there's a couple ways where you can set up your actual repo. One is to create a new repo on the command line. You can push an existing repository from the command line. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this one. This is my default one that I use all the time. So what you do is you go to your terminal and let's make a new file called git samples. And this folder could be any name, it doesn't matter. It could be something else, but it is associated to the folder that's inside of Git. So it could be any name, it just needs to be a folder. So let's click on that and let's cd into that. And in here, what it's going to do is right here, we're going to copy and paste all these commands. And it's going to initiate the Git, add a README file, commit the first commit, add this remote GitHub repo right here online to its origin. And then it's going to push this as the origin for the master. If we copy that and paste it, and you press enter, it'll do all the magic for you and push it out. So now if we refresh this page right now we are all set up and are connected to GitHub. So let's take a look and open this up in Atom. So if you do Atom space dot, it'll actually open it in Atom for you. And you can remove these welcome files here. And so if you see here, when you do a git init, it actually adds this .git file here. And this is a hidden folder that you normally wouldn't see. And don't worry, you don't have to mess with this at all. But this is where Git actually saves a lot of its information, like its logs, its references, like head, master. If you take a look at remote here and you click on origin and master, that actually has the location of the master. So this is all information that Git uses to actually save your file, and it does some magic in the background to actually know what's what and what the code is. So don't worry about this, you'll never ever really touch this. Just know that when you do a git init, that is there. So if I wanted to remove this as a Git file, you can do a rm-rf and then .git like so, and that will remove any record of Git on that folder. Say if you pulled down this file from GitHub, like you cloned it, and you wanted to actually add it to your repo or your GitHub account, you can actually remove the .git file, add a new repo onto your GitHub, then you can do the same thing we did earlier where we copy and pasted that whole thing into there. So let's clear that out. So let's close this and let's add a file to this. So let's add a file. Let's just go index.html and then let's add some code to it, right? Now let's save that and let's go sample. And then what we can do is do a git status to take a look at our status right now. So if you take a look at this, it says untracked files, git add file. and then it shows you the file that it's not tracking. So Git right now is not tracking this. So what we want to do is actually track this. So the first command I use is git add all. So it's git add -- all. And what this does is it adds any untracked files into the tracked files. If I enter that and I do a git status, it'll say, hey, you have a new file now, and this is actually being tracked right now. So my next command I usually do is a git commit am, and then the commit message, add new file, and let's enter. And then the next one is git push. So that's going to push it up to the repo. And once it's done, if we refresh, we should have an HTML file here, index.html here. If you take a look at the commits here, these are a list of commits that you had. If you click on this, you can actually see what it added. It added this index.html, and then it added all this text in here. Let's go back here. And so let's play around with this. So those are the 3 commands that you use, or that I use, and I recommend using the commands that I'm doing right now. It's a lot easier, a lot simpler. You don't have to think about it too much. So the first one is git add all, and what that does is it adds untracked files into your Git so that it can track it. The next one is git commit am / and then the message, right? So normally people recommend just doing m, and I don't like using it because we're still doing that here, but when we do an am, it's actually adding and then adding a message too. So it's adding the files and then also doing a message for the commit. And so what that does is that, if I make an update here, like so, and I do a git status, now I don't have to do a git add, all, like so. I can just do a git commit am, and then my message, new stuff. And that's all I need to do. I can just git push. So the only reason you would do a git add all, like so, is if your file wasn't being tracked. So let's add a new file here, and let's show you what that looks like. So let's right click here, add a new file, and let's just call it index.css. And let's just save that. We're not going to put anything in there. And we're going to do git status. And then now let's change this and put example here. And let's clear this out and do a git status. And so now you see 2 things here. Changes not staged for commit. It says it's modified. And then this says untracked files. So let's try to do a git commit am new file. You will see that the actual untracked one is never getting tracked. So I go git status. So it still says it's untracked. So what I want to do is do a git add all, and then git status again, just to take a look at the status. So now it says new file, 1 commit that we have to push up, and then another one. So let's add a new commit right here, and add CSS, and then git status. And so now we have 2 commits that we just committed. So now all this is good now, so we can do a git push. And then now we have our index. So if you don't have any new files, you can do a git commit am like so. If you do have items that you just added that it's untracked, you do a git add all like so. So that's kind of the only rule that you got to think about. But those are the 3 commands that you really have to worry about when you're doing this stuff. You'll use those commands most of the time when you're pushing stuff up, adding and committing. So the other command I use is a git checkout. So what I'm going to do is actually create a new branch. So let's call this new branch, like so. So what this is going to do is actually going to create a new branch and then jump into that branch so that you're on that branch currently. So now if you see right here, we're actually on new branch now. So let's do a git status, and it says no commits. So what we want to do first is do a git push. So if we take a look at my code here and we refresh this, we don't have any branches here. It's just master right here. But when I do a git push on this thing, it's going to give us a warning saying, hey, do you want to run this command to do stuff? So let's do that. And it says, fatal, current branch, new branch has no upstream branch. To push the current branch, set the remote as upstream and use git push set upstream origin new branch. So if we copy and paste that, what that does is that normally, when I first started out, I didn't use this command at all. They didn't have this warning at all when I first started out. And you would usually do git push to push stuff up, and then you would tell it origin, and then you would have to actually write out like the whole name. And the problem with that is that sometimes I would push it out to the wrong origin, to the wrong branch. And I had like really bad issues where like I just put my code in the wrong code, and sometimes I didn't even know I did it, which is really bad. And then I'll find out later that it was my fault and I did that command incorrectly. So this command actually does it where when you do a git push, it'll know to do it automatically to the new branch right here. And it's a really good way to save yourself from doing stupid stuff like pushing out to the wrong branch. Let's do that. And what that's going to do is push out our new branch. And right now it's saying, hey, create a new branch. That's what new branch is called. And so if I refresh the GitHub page here, you will see that I have 2 branches now, the new branch and the master branch. So now we're on new branch. Let's add some code in here, right? So let's delete example, and then let's add a div here. And let's just add some ULs and some LIs. And then save that. Let's do a git status. And so since this is modified, all I have to do is a git commit add li and ul. And then we press enter, and then we can do a git push, and that will push it out. And so now that pushed out the new code to the new branch. So the new branch and the master branch are totally different. Well, not totally different, but they're different branches. They live on its own. So if I do a git, so my code's here right now, you see the UL and stuff. And so let's do a git checkout. And so what git checkout does is you can move through branches or actual git commits or commit numbers. So I'll show you that later. So let's do git master, checkout master. And so now we're on the master branch, and if you take a look at the master branch, it doesn't have any of that stuff right there. Let's do some stuff with the master, and let's just change this to sample, right? And let's save that, and let's do a git status again. So git commit change sample, and let's do git push. And usually you want to be pretty descriptive about your commits. For me, I'm just doing this as an example, so I'm not writing too much. But normally you would actually want to put something that you can reference in the future. So I might go back, 2 months from now and want to check out this commit that I made and what I did with it. So I need a good message there that's telling me what I actually did there, and so that I know like exactly what happened. So let's do a git push and push that out. And let's clear that, and let's do a git checkout new branch. Okay, so now we have this new code here. This is the new branch, and we added some stuff to the master branch. So in a normal team, what will happen is that your teammates will be adding new stuff and merging their stuff into master, and then master will have like updated code. So, and then now say I'm finished with what I'm doing, I want to merge my stuff into master. The best way to do it is actually you have to pull in the stuff that's in master into your branch so it's up to date. So let's do that. Let's do, so what you do is a git pull origin master, like so. And so what this is going to do is it's actually going to pull in all the new code from master, and then it's going to check if there's any merge conflicts or anything like that. So you press enter. And so right now it's telling me I have merge conflicts in the index.html file. And if I go to the index.html file, Atom actually gives this to you. This is pretty new, where you can choose one or the other. But normally, if you didn't have Atom, you would have to choose between this one or this one. So right now, what it's telling you is that this is your code, which is the head. And then this is actually the code on this commit right here, which is what's on master. So we go, which one do we want to keep, right? And let's just say, hey, master is the correct one. So let's delete this and delete this. And once we remove these little tick marks with the stuff right here, Git will actually let you commit to it. So we can actually do this too and add some extra code into here, like so, and it would be okay with that. So normally when you have a merge conflict, you want to go out and see who wrote the code that is conflicted with yours, because sometimes their code they need and your code you might need, and GitHub's not smart. It just knows that the code changed. What you want to do is actually talk to that person and actually see if they need something and kind of work your way through to make sure everybody's happy. Instead of just deleting somebody else's code and them coming to you later on saying, why did you delete my code? I actually needed that. And that happens a lot when you first start out. So just make sure you talk to the person that actually did the deed, right? Added the code into there. And how you actually do that is you can go check out master, and then you can actually go to the line of code, which is, let's say, HTML. And if you do a get blame like so, you can actually see who made the commit. So right here, I made the commit, so there's no problem. But normally when you work on a team, you'll actually see that person here, who was the last person that added that line of code there. So let's go back here and let's commit this into it. And normally, oh, I didn't want that. I want to do a git commit am, and then right here, usually when I do a merge conflicts, I'll just say resolve merge conflicts. And enter, and then I will push it out. So now my branch is actually up to date with the master branch. And there's reasons why you do this. So you always want to make sure master is clean. You don't want it to have a merge conflict there that might mess up the code, because master is usually associated to the production code. And because it's production code, you want to make sure that the code that you put in there is tested, and you don't want to add code that's really going to mess it up and give you a headache of trying to figure out how to fix it. What you want to do is you want to put it in your branch and make sure you fix it there before you ever touch master at all and merge there. So the process is pull in from master, do a git pull origin master, and then once you do all the merge conflicts and commit it, now you're up to date. And what you want to do is git checkout master, like so. And then from now I want to pull in all my new stuff from my branch. So I want to do a git merge and then your branch name, like so. And then when you press enter, now it knows that it's clean, you don't have any conflicts at all, and you know that you won't have any conflicts at all. And this is the way you want to do it. You want to make sure master's really clean and do everything on your branch that might be an issue. So now that that's pulled in or merged, if you do git status, it'll tell you, hey, you got 2 commits that you need to push out. So let's do a git push, like so. And so now we have all our up-to-date code with the new branch. And so now we can actually delete that branch because we don't need that anymore. We already worked on that, that branch and changed our new feature or fixed the bug or whatever you're doing. So let's click on here. And what we want to do is we want to delete this branch. So that's going to delete the branch. And then this is only going to delete it on GitHub side. So let's see if it deletes it like this. Let's see if we do a get fetch, if we still have that branch or not. So get fetch, it just gets all the information from GitHub. And then we want to do a git branch. And let's see if it deleted that. So as you can see, that branch still lives locally here, even though I deleted it on GitHub. So we actually have to delete this branch now. And to delete it, you actually have to do a git branch and then D, and then tell it what branch you want to delete. So the D is a shortcut for delete. And then we want to do new branch and press enter, and then git, and now that branch is deleted. Cool. So let's say we have another branch. Let's create a new branch again, and you can actually, create that same branch that you wanted. Let's just do new branch again, just for fun. And then let's do that. And then let's do the same git push, and that'll create this new branch on its own again. And let's do a git checkout master, and I want to make some changes in the master because now new branch is like where master is right now, but now I want to make some changes. And let's just add that line in there. Let's save it. And let's do a git commit and then new stuff. Let's do a git push. And let's do a git checkout new branch. And let's just copy this. And let's just save this. So we're not going to save, we're just going to save it, but we're not going to commit it, right? Git status, like, and so this says it's modified, so I don't want to do a git add or git checkout or anything. So let's do git pull origin master. So now I want to pull in new data from master, and I have this thing that hasn't been committed yet. hasn't been staged yet. So if I enter this, it tells me right here, your local changes to the following files will be overridden by merge. Please commit your changes or stash them before you merge. So the next command that I use a lot is git stash. So if you have some code that you don't want to commit yet, you're just playing around with it, and you have to pull in stuff from master, you can do a git stash like so. And what that will do is remove that code that you added in there and stash it away on the side. So if we do a git stash list, it'll actually show us a list of the stashes that we have. I normally only have one because I'll stash something and then pop it. And I'll show you that command after. But what pop does is takes it out this list and adds it back into your code. There's another command that you can use. It's git stash apply. And apply, what it does is just applies the last one that you did. But what happens is that you'll have a ton of stashes here, like a list of them here. And I typically want to keep that pretty clean. So, and to get out of there, you press Q. And so let's pull that stuff in, like master. So now I can pull in all the stuff from master now. And to get back my code, right, so now I have master code right here in my branch. And if I do a git stash pop, it'll take my code from where I have it in the stash and put it exactly where I had it in before. Now we're going to have merge conflicts because it's in the same place as the master code, but all we do is fix that, right? So let's do that and see, it tells us we have a merge conflict. And then now we're just going to pick which one we want. And let's just say, you know, we want this one. Oh, actually, no, I don't want that one. I want let's just say we want to keep that right there. Let's do git status, and now we're good. We have one commit we have to push, but now this index, and we don't have any issues at all. And we can work on the code and keep on working on it until we like it, and then commit it if we wanted to. So now what I want to do, let's git checkout master. Oh, let's just commit this real quick. Push it out. Okay. So one thing you can do is you can do a git diff. That checks if you have differences in your code. So let's copy this and paste this in here. And then now let's run a git diff. It tells you what you added. If you delete something, it'll tell you what you deleted. So Q to exit, and then to git diff. Now you can see that it says, hey, I removed some stuff and I added some stuff here. Let's put this back. There's also git log, which shows you all the commits that you just did. So this is the last commit I did, and then these are the ones before that. And that's the same thing that you see on GitHub here. So if I do this, you'll see all the commits here and the number. And it's the same thing here. And then these are the messages here and the time when it's done and by who. So let's exit out of there. So that's git log. Another good command is git ref log. And these are all the actual commits and stuff that you did on your local computer that is not, sometimes is not tracked by GitHub, or it's not on GitHub. And if you put this, it actually tells you all the commit, numbers that you have, what you actually did. So these are all the commands I did, and I reset and did all this stuff. So these are a history of your local logs that you have. And this might not make sense right now, but later on you'll hit something and you'll understand that you might lose stuff in your GitHub if somebody overwrote the history on the Git commits. And one way you can fix things is actually go to git reflog, and it'll actually show you the commit number. So this is super helpful when something goes really wrong and you need history from somewhere. So last thing I want to do is actually delete a GitHub repo. So what we're going to do is actually delete this GitHub repo here. And so what you do is you have your repository and you go to settings over here. And if you scroll all the way down, you do this, delete this repository. And it's going to ask you to, input this name here. So it wants you to actually do git example like so, and then click this button because they want to make sure that you actually want to delete that one. And so that's how you delete a repo on your account. So now I still have git tracked here, but if I do like a git pull, it'll tell me that there's no repo anymore. So I actually have to set this up again over here if I wanted to set it up again, but I'm not going to want to do that. So yeah, these are the basic commands I use every day. This is how you do, create a new repo and commit to stuff and merge files together with master. So if you go to my repo here, the git notes, I actually have a README file that tells you all the commands that I actually use on a day-to-day basis. And most of the stuff you've already seen in this video. So these are all the commands you've seen in this video already. And there might be some stuff missing here, like the git ref and the git ref log and the git log. And then I show you the steps of doing a pull from master and then doing a merge. So this is the whole process of how you would merge to master. So if you need any reference, this is a good one for the commands that I actually use. So that's how I do Git. Hopefully it helps you out. If you do it this way, I guarantee you that you won't have too many problems with Git once you use it with a team and when you're putting up your code.